Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all are doing well.
Good afternoon.
Judge Morrow.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. The SAP reset date is going to be June 27th.
Take your camera off.
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow.
Good afternoon. I hope you all are well.
Yes, we are. Hope you are too.
Thank you.
We're going to be starting with position number 12, Mr. King.
Okay. And I just want to make note that I see Madam Interpreter's on with us. So whenever you all have a moment.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. Scout, sorry. Deborah Milne, I'm sorry, I have a little bit of bronchitis, but I do need to go into a breakout room with the interpreter to speak with one of my clients who I've not spoken to yet, Panera.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Melnick, we do you just have one today?
Just one in Spanish interpreter, yes.
Okay, yes. Once they have them, we'll put you into a breakout room so that you can speak with them. Thank you for letting us know.
Thank you.
And I would also like to request a breakout room for Mr. King for MH.
Okay. Anyone else that we're going to need a breakout room for today?
Mr. DeBose also.
Okay. So let's just go ahead and do the breakout rooms now. I don't know which solicitor is handling Mr. DeBose, but if we can have Mr. Walker, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
So we'll put Mr. Walker, Ms. Wills, myself, Ms. Grace, of course. Anyone else? Ms. Kim?
Yes, and it's for both Mr. King and Mr. DeBose.
We're ready, Judge Morrow.
Okay, we're gonna take Mr. King's in a breakout room. So Ms. Grace, as soon as you can get us in the breakout room, we'd appreciate it. Oh,
Hey, Judge,
or is
this
it?
is Bridgewater.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms.
That's
Bridgewater.
okay. I just. Okay, you're supposed to be muted.
Okay, courtroom 2, just so that you know, for Mr. King, it's going to be, we had an opportunity to discuss his case, a $3,000 surety bond. He's to stay away from the Waffle House on Old National Highway. No further contact with Tamika Hill, a mental health evaluation, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right, do we get that, courtroom 2?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Then you said you had the both.
King, voila.
Yes.
King,
Step
Well,
aside.
well,
Go ahead and
okay.
have a seat, the both.
voila.
Yes, Mr. DeBose. Good afternoon, sir. We've also had the opportunity to discuss your case while we were in the breakout room. I'm gonna give you a signature bond, Mr. DeBose. It's gonna be $1,000 bond, signature bond for each charge. So a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. And you need to stay away from the Chevron at 1683 Lakewood Avenue. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. I'm gonna let you out, Mr. DeBose, but you're gonna have to make sure to come back and answer for the charges when you get a notice, okay, sir? Okay, good luck to you, Mr. DeBose.
Next, we got position 5, Davis.
Cool, man.
Or did we have any more others for the breakout?
No, those were all of them.
Okay.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Davies. I'm
I'm
Judge
sorry,
Eric.
Judge Morrow, I didn't mean to interrupt. He has a private attorney.
Okay,
Thank you.
and is that attorney on the line?
No, my attorney is not on the line.
Okay, go ahead and have a seat for me.
Okay.
In the second row. We'll come back to him, Judge.
Okay.
Position 24, Tanisha VC.
Good afternoon, Ms. Vesey. I'm Judge Eric Mora. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
No. Yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. You've been charged in case 23 CR 003694H with battery family violence. Is there a history? Who do we have on from? Oh, yes, Ms. Roberts.
I heard the name for position 24, but I think you read the case number for position 23. I just want to know who.
Okay, we have two V's.
Yeah,
Is
this
this
is Tanisha VC.
Yes. Case 23 CR 003695H, charged with battery family violence.
She has 2 cycles, including this arrest, with the last arrest being June of 2018 for false statements or writing out of the Clayton County, and that case is dismissed. And nothing further.
Okay, yes, Ms. Bickerstaff, good afternoon.
Yes. Good afternoon, Judge Morrow. Would you like to, well, the facts are the same for both positions, 23 and 24. But
Okay, I'm sorry, hold on. So 23, for 23, I have Monique Rochelle Beasley. For this I have Tanisha Lanice Beasley.
yes.
Are they the same person?
No.
That's correct. They're sisters.
They're sisters.
Oh, okay. And so this, were they is this the same incident?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, Ms. Bickerstaff.
Okay. So, Your Honor, this incident occurred June 10th, 2023 at 1683 Barrett Drive in Atlanta. And this is where officers arrived at the location, and the officer noted that he heard screaming, and he observed the 2 sisters, the defendant and I'm sorry, we're on position 24. So the defendant and Miss Monique VC pushing each other. Their father tried to break up the fight, and his shirt was ripped in that process. Officers knocked on the door and was advised that the defendant that they were arguing, and that the victim in this case, Miss Monique was slammed the door in the officer's face. The officers reported that the women were both intoxicated and that both women had visible marks on their faces. The victim also had a knot on her forehead and scratches to her breast, Your Honor. For these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact with her sister, Miss Monique VC, to stay away from 1683 Barrett Drive, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Ms. McLeod.
That is not my client, Your Honor.
Actually, this is my client, Your Honor. Tanish Vicky is 26 years old, and she is working as a cook, and she graduated from high school. She also has 2 years of college from Armstrong College, which has a different name now. She was born and raised here in Georgia. Everybody, her family members are here, strong ties to the community. She prefers to have a nonviolent contact, and yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give stay away or no further contact, she is okay to stay away from the incident location since they do not reside together. My client has a separate address in Decatur, and so it is okay for her to have a no further contact and stay away. Thanks, Your Honor. We would like to request for a signature on bond.
Okay, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Monique BC, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond, and stay away from the 1683 is it Barrett Drive address? All right, good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Position 23, Monique VC.
Okay, so Same facts, Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, same facts. The state's recommendation for bond on this one is also $5,000 surety bond, no further contact with her sister, Tanisha VC, to stay away from the incident location, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Does she have a history, Ms. Roberts?
Yes, she has 4 cycles and she has an open case pending for aggravated assault, family violence, case number 22 SC 183632, and nothing further.
Yes, Ms. McLeod.
My client is 23 years old, Your Honor. She is the mother of a 2-year-old. She is gainfully employed. Your Honor, this, according to my client, was a dispute she and her sister were having. They were actually at their grandmother's house, where their dad also resides. My client does not want to stay away from the location, Your Honor, because this is where her grandmother lives, and also her dad. And she and her sister had gone there to kind of help out, which they do from time to time. She tells me it was a misunderstanding. She also does not want to stay away from her sister. And that was my understanding, that her sister felt the same way. She did not want to stay away from her sister because they are sisters, and this was just a one-off incident. She said they're just having an argument. And she is not in the least bit afraid of her sister, and she does want contact with her sister and with her dad and with her grandmother. I understand that my client does have some history, Your Honor, but based on what she tells me, she was not the aggressor in any of this. And also this was just a minor argument between herself and her sister. So I would ask the court to consider giving her a signature bond as well, so she can get out of jail and get back home to her 2-year-old. She's very much concerned about that because, you know, she was arrested and had to leave her child. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Anything further, Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor, just to rebut Ms. McLeod's request for no further contact. This incident just occurred 2 days ago, and the officer did note that there were bruising, like marks and blood on both sisters' faces. So the state just wants to make sure there's been an adequate cooling off period before any contact is made between them. So that is why the state is asking for the no further contact.
Okay. Again, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness. At this point in time, again, I don't believe that they should be around each other until something more is resolved. No further contact with Ms. Tanisha. Stay away from the Britt Drive address, Barrett Drive address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank
Good luck
you.
to you, ma'am. You're welcome, Mr. McLeod.
Position 20, Redding.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Redding. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ma'am, you've been charged in case 23 CR 003698A with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
She doesn't appear to have I'm sorry, Judge. Give me 1 second. It's 2 Redding, and I did not hear the position number.
Okay, this is position, as my understanding, this is position 20.
Yes, it is. It's Rondlin Redding.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
She has 2 cycles. Last arrest was in 2008 for FTA. She has no conviction. Nothing further.
Okay. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So for position 20, this incident occurred yesterday at 415 Fabrum Road, apartment 1507. And this is where the officer responded to a domestic dispute. And when officers arrived there, they spoke with the defendant, who explained that she was in a verbal dispute with her daughter, position 19, Chatkivia Redding, inside the apartment. The defendant let officers know that her other minor child was present during this altercation. The defendant let officers know that during the argument, the defendant in position 19 attempted to punch her in the face, but she avoided contact. And so this defendant and defendant position number 19, they both began to hit each other, strike each other. And the defendants, this defendant's minor child was also involved in the altercation. When officers spoke to Ms. Shakivia Redden, position 19, she told officers that her mother tried to pick up an air fryer and she dropped it on her leg, and that's what started the physical altercation between them. For these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness course, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while on bond, as well as no further contact with her daughter, Chakivia Redden.
Your Honor, my client is 46 years old. As pretrial has said, she has no convictions. My client is a hard-working single mother. She has 4 daughters. They're 26, 21, 17, and 14. And all of them live with her, as well as a grandchild that our oldest daughter has. She tells me that she does want to have contact with her daughter, and she explained to me circumstances which I think give context to all of what happened. She said that someone that she has been dating for the past 12 years and who had been a part of her daughter's lives texted her 21-year-old daughter, the other defendant, asking her to do dances for him for his birthday. And her daughter showed her, and she was just flabbergasted and shocked, and an argument ensued. And this was all started it. She also told me that when they got to the intake, she was able to speak with her daughter, and they both were very sorry about the incident, and they hugged, and they are just fine with each other. She tells me that her children are very important to her, and she does want to continue having contact with her daughter. This is just because of the shock of the whole situation, that someone that she had trusted around her children could do something like that. And I just want to put context to it, Your Honor. So I would ask for signature bond for my client, and she has specifically asked that her daughter be able to come back home. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Chakivia, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Position 19, Chakivia Redden.
Same facts, Ms. Bickerstaff.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Roberts, is there history?
No, first arrest.
Okay, yes, Ms. Bickerstaff.
The state's recommendation for this position is $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with Ms. Rondalyn Redden, 1-day anger awareness course, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond, and a stay away from the incident location.
Okay, Ms. Kim, if it's all right with you, I'm going to give Ms. Chakivia the same as I gave her mother, a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with her mom, Rondalyn, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you, Ms. Redden.
What was the bond, Judge?
A $3,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Position 14. How do you pronounce your last name? Koloczewski.
Good afternoon, Ms. Goloczewski. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 003707G with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
What was this position number, Judge? I'm sorry.
We're on position number 14.
This appears to be first arrest.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor, 1 second. In this case, the victim's name is Gabrielle Narain, which is spelled Naraine. Law enforcement was dispatched to a dispute at the incident location 745 Hansel Street in Atlanta, Georgia. Upon speaking with the victim, Ms. Narain, she stated that the defendant, her were in a verbal altercation which turned physical, and the defendant was inebriated. And the defendant attacked her. The state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Gabrielle Narain, and stay away from the incident location, along with no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Ms. Melnick?
Yes, Your Honor. If I may, can I inquire of the state as if they've had contact with the victim and what was her response?
We haven't, so we are asking for no contact because we do not have contact and the victim is not present to state whether she feels okay.
Really? Okay. Your Honor, my client lives at 745 Hansel Street. Her name and her grandmother's name are the co-signers on the lease. She works, she owns a hair salon in Buckhead, and she's lived her entire life in the Atlanta area. She has one 7-year-old son that she has custody of. I have explained to her that even though her name and her grandmother's name is on the lease, the court may order that she not be able to return there without a one-time escort from the police. However, we asked the court to take that into consideration because this is her first incident ever. We are asking for a signature bond in the amount of $1,500.
I'll get her signature bond, Ms. Melnick. It's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness. Since no one has heard from Ms. Narain at this time.
I think that, yeah,
Oh,
Gabby
yes.
may be on the Zoom. I apologize. I didn't recognize her.
No, that's okay. I am here.
Yes, and this is Ms. Narain.
This is,
Okay, can you activate your camera for me, ma'am?
yes, I'm trying to figure out how now. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to, it's only giving me an option. I'm sorry, it's only giving me the option to speak. I can't figure out how to turn my camera on. And every time I try to pull up everybody else's video, it mutes me.
Okay, can you raise, okay, there you go. Can you raise your right hand for me, ma'am? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you. State your full name for me, and then tell me what you like to tell the court.
My name is Gabrielle Elizabeth Narain. I'm just here to support Danielle Kolodziejski. I wouldn't like to press any charges. I don't see myself as a victim. It was just a simple argument between the two. I don't reside there, and if I have to, I am perfectly fine with not residing there.
Okay, has this ever happened before?
No, sir.
And are you afraid of her?
I am not.
Okay. And this Hansel Street address, is that her primary address?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Any questions, Mr. Walker?
No questions from the state.
Okay, so it will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Narain, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Position 13, Knight.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Knight. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 003706A with criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
She has 2 cycles, one out of Georgia, one out of Florida, with the last arrest being in 2013 out of Florida for public order crimes. That case was dismissed. She does appear to have an open case in Odyssey. The open case is from 2011 for ag stalking, but it appears to be open. 11 CP 123733. Nothing further.
Mr. Walker?
Just 1 second, Your Honor. So in this case, the defendant was arrested at the incident location 3324 Peachtree Road. That location is the location or the residence of her ex-boyfriend, which I will spell his first name, Adebayo. Last name is spelled Adegbesan. The defendant did come to the victim's location and confronted him. At the time, he did contact law enforcement and she refused to leave. Law enforcement did come to the scene and she was arrested for criminal trespass. We are asking for a stay away from the incident location. Again, that address is 3324 Peachtree Road, Atlanta, Georgia, and no further contact with the victim.
Your Honor, may I clarify? This is an apartment complex. My client lives in apartment 1017, and the complaining witness's apartment number is 908. So staying away from his residence of 908 is not going to be a problem. They do not live together. I didn't know I just wanted to clarify that, Mr. Walker.
That's fine.
Okay, but I do have more. My client works for the Coca-Cola company. We are asking in this case for a we're asking this case for a signature bond on this, and we have no objection to a stay away from the victim and from his residence of apartment 908.
Okay. It is going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with the alleged victim. Stay away from his apartment of 908, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Knight.
Position 8, Glass.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Glass. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 003690C with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
No, first arrest.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 2591 Ethridge Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. The victim in this case, I will spell the first name Antarian Smith. Called law enforcement because the defendant was at the location. It was a verbal altercation that turned physical. At that time, the defendant did strike and push the defendant, resulting in visible injury. The state will be asking for a $2,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, and a stay away from the incident location, along with no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And the visible injuries in this case were scratches around the victim's face and neck.
Okay. Who's representing Ms. Glass?
Is myself, Miss Wills.
Okay, Ms. Wells.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Glass is a Georgia native. As this is her first arrest, I would be requesting a signature on bond. The alleged victim in this case is the father of her children. She does live at the incident location. He does not live there. And she is okay with a third-party visitation for the children. And she does deny the allegations as alleged and claims that this was a self-defense action that she took.
It'll be $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Mr. Smith. no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond, third-party transfer of any minor children for visitation. Good luck, Ms. Glass.
Position number 1, Barry.
Afternoon, Mr. Berry. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Thank you, sir. Mr. Berry, you've been charged in case 23 CR 003686G with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
No, appears to be first arrest.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was investigating a car theft. They did identify the vehicle of the suspect. They attempted to make a traffic stop on that vehicle. Upon initiating the stop, the defendant was in the vehicle. He did flee that vehicle. They were able to make contact and arrest the defendant. We are asking for $1,000 surety, no weapons, drugs, and/or alcohol.
Okay, and the only thing that he was charged with was obstruction.
That is correct, Your Honor.
If it's okay with you, Ms. Wills, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you, Ms. Wills?
It does, and my client does deny the allegations and assured me that this is his first arrest and last arrest.
Okay, very good. Good luck to you, Mr. Berry.
Positions 3 and 4, Crawford.
Good afternoon, Mr. Crawford. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Crawford, you've been charged in case 23 CR 003687J with theft by taking, and in case 23 CR 003688J with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
First arrest.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In position 3, the defendant is charged with theft by taking. In this case, the victim reported to law enforcement officers that the defendant took her Ace's laptop. The victim's name is Shanice Wright. We are asking for a $1,500 surety bond with no further contact with the victim. Again, Shanice Wright, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
And for position 4?
In position 4, the defendant was stopped or was attempted to be stopped by a law enforcement officer. At that time, the defendant did take off running. They were able to apprehend the defendant, and the defendant was charged with obstruction. We are asking for $1,000 surety in position 4 to the 1 count of obstruction.
Okay, if all right with you, Ms. Wills, for the theft, it's going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with the alleged victim, Ms. Wright. For the obstruction, $1,000 signature bond through the jail. And for both, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you, Ms. Wills?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Crawford.
And for the record, my client does deny the allegations.
Position 7, Edmund.
Sorry, Edmund.
Yes, good afternoon. Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 003700F with DUI concentration of 0.08 grams or more, DUI less safe, and improper erratic lane change. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
2 cycles, both out of California. Last arrest was November of 2021 for battery, inflict corporal injury, spouse, cohab. He appears to be on probation for that case. The disposition was November of 2021, 3 years probation. and nothing further.
Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred yesterday off of Marietta Highway in Roswell. And this is where officers noted and observed the defendant failing to drive his vehicle within a single lane on Marietta Highway. They noted in the warrant that the defendant almost struck another vehicle. The defendant had a BAC of 0.149, where the legal limit is 0.08. And the officer also noted that the defendant had red, watery eyes and that his speech was slurred and slow, as well as the officer smelled alcohol on the defendant's breath. For these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $5,000 surety bond, $3,000 for the DUI more than 0.08 grams, $1,000 for the DUI less safe, and $1,000 for the improper lane change, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Yes, Mr. Ahmed Harry has been here in Georgia for about 4 months, and she has her uncle, auntie, grandfather here in Georgia. And he became a caretaker to his grandfather. That was the main reason he moved over here, to take care of him. So they live together, and he is working as a finance person at Hyundai. He graduated from high school. He also has a summer of college education. This is his first DUI offense. We would like to request for a signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 per se, and let's say a signature on bond for definitely for late change. Thank you.
For the DUI 0.08 grams or more, it's going to be a $1,500 surety bond. For the DUI less safe, a $250 surety bond. For the erratic lane change, a $250 surety bond. Makes for a total of a $2,000 surety bond. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Judge, what was the total bond?
2,000. Good.
Thank you. And also, okay, thank you for courtroom 3. They're ready to go into the breakout. For the
Okay.
interpreter.
Ms. Melnick and Madam Interpreter.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so we'll put
I'm good.
the interpreter, Ms. Melnick, and courtroom 3 into a breakout room, please. While they're doing that, who do we have next in courtroom 2?
Position 9, Mr. Grant.
Good afternoon, Mr. Grant. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Grant, you've been charged in case 23 CR 003691C, simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
Yes, I am showing 19 cycles. Last arrest was last year in June out of Douglas County for a probation violation. Has driving while license suspended or revoked convictions 2012, 2013. Simple battery conviction 2011. Possession of marijuana less than an ounce conviction 2003. Possession of a firearm by convicted felon conviction 98. Theft by receiving stolen property conviction 94. Burglary 92, and a total of 7 probation violations.
Yes, Mr. Walker.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 201 Maury Avenue Southwest. They spoke with the victim, Miss Jocelyn Chandler. She said she arrived at her residence with a co-worker / friend. At the time, she was greeted by the defendant, Mr. Brandon Grant. This was a verbal altercation that turned physical. The defendant did strike her in her face 4 times, resulting in a visible injury. At that time, the defendant was arrested on the above charge. We are asking for a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with Miss Jocelyn Chandler, and to stay away from the incident location, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. I'm sorry.
Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 49 years old. From what the warrant says, it appears that this incident happened sometime in April of this year. My client denies that he struck the alleged victim, Your Honor. He said that the car that she was driving was his car, and he took his car keys, and she became upset because he took his car keys. My client is employed. He tells me he works as a forklift operator. I understand that he does have some history, Your Honor, so I would ask the court to consider giving him as low a bond as possible, because I understand it's unlikely that the court is going to give him a signature bond. If the court orders that he has to stay away from this location where he has been living for several years with the alleged victim, we would ask that he have a one-time police escort to go back and get his things. Even though they do not share children, Your Honor, he tells me that they have been co-parenting 2 children. One is his daughter and the other her son. And all of them live at this location. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Right. It's going to be $1,000 surety bond, no further contact with Ms. Chandler, stay away from the Maury Avenue address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Grant.
Quick announcement, looking for the attorney for position 5, Mr. Daves. What's your attorney's name? Ahmad Cruz. Ahmad Cruz. I don't see him. Okay.
No. Does Mr. Cruz know that is he an attorney of record? Let's see, Ms. Grace, do we know?
Yeah, Mr. Davis, he had already spoke with his attorney.
Oh, okay, so I'm just wondering if he knows he needs to be here this afternoon.
All right, moving on. Position number 11. Jean Lewis.
Good afternoon, Mr. John Lewis. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You have been charged in case 23 CR 003693Y with criminal trespass and public drunk. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
22 cycles. Last arrest was May 10th of this year for reckless conduct, possession of use of drug-related object, theft by taking, and I'll waive the 4th charge. That's out of Fulton County. That appears to be open. He appears to be on probation for sale of cocaine and possession of a Schedule 3, 4, or 5 controlled substance with intent to distribute. 19 SC 167307. That is from August of 2019. 4 years probation, 1 year confinement. Also appears to be on misdemeanor probation for reckless conduct, possession and use of drug-related objects. He appears to be on probation for the last arrest. 23 CR 002-920F. Disposition was June 1st, this month, 12 months probation. He has a total of 4 FTAs, 3 probation violations, a 2014 possession of marijuana less than an ounce conviction, and then a 2011 willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer conviction, and nothing further.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to the racetrack gas station located at 1515 Alpharetta Highway in Roswell, Georgia. Upon speaking to the staff at that location, they advised that the defendant came to the location. He was being erratic and yelling at customers. He also pulled his pants down in the middle of the gas station. He had previously been criminally trespassed from that gas station on May 9th of this year. Law enforcement did arrive at the location. They did make contact with the defendant. Again, the defendant was inebriated. At that time, he was arrested for criminal trespass and public drunk. The state is asking for a $1,000 surety bond to each count. In total, that would be a $2,000 surety bond and a stay away from the instant location, 1515 Alpharetta Highway in Roswell, Georgia. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Ms. Kim, your client has his hand up. Would you like to address him?
Mr. Jim Lewis, please remain silent. This is your constitutional right not to intimidate you. So I would strongly recommend you not to speak.
Go ahead, Ms. Kim.
Yes. He is 41 years old, my client is, and he has a job as a forklift operator, choreographer, dancer, and artist. He graduated from high school, and even though he has some challenges through the disability, he has been doing really well with his life. I would like to recommend for a signature on bond and for both charges, Your Honor. Thank you.
It's going to be a $500 surety bond per charge, which makes it $1,000 surety bond in total. Stay away from the racetrack, gas station on Alpharetta Highway, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Your Honor, before we move on, I just want to circle back to position 5. I did check for Mr. Davies. There is no entry of appearance that has been filed. So I don't know if he would like to speak with the public defender, but there is no entry on the record.
Exactly, Judge. I just checked it too. I was waiting on a break as well.
Okay, thank you both.
I can speak with him. If someone wants to put me in the breakout room, I'll talk to him.
No, Ms. Wells, we'll give you a call.
Okay, thank you.
Have a seat over there. Position number 17, Olson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Olson. I'm Judge.
Afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 003703J with battery and criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
One prior out of Florida from 97 for DUI. There was no disposition listed.
Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred yesterday.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Bickerstaff.
Yes, so this incident occurred yesterday at 9925 Haynes Bridge Road in Johns Creek. Specifically, this is a parking lot. And this is where Mr. Alexander Cinco called officers, and he told them that he was driving behind the defendant. And so he decided to change lanes and pass by the defendant. And when Mr. Cinco turned into the parking lot, he noticed that the defendant turned in that same parking lot as well. And so then Mr. Cinco got out of his car, and then the defendant approached him and stated, "So you're tough." And then the defendant pushed Mr. Cinco with both of his hands, causing him to fall. And when he fell, it caused his iPhone to crack, Your Honor. There was an independent witness, Mr. Travis Bond, who witnessed the altercation. He told officers that the defendant did in fact push Mr. Cinco. The defendant, however, told the officers that he had turned into the parking lot and that he was just involved in an incident of road rage, and that Mr. Cinco was, in fact, he said that Mr. Cinco was driving reckless and that he had almost hit people in the parking lot. The defendant stated that Mr. Cinco walked towards him, and in an effort to create space between them, he held his arms out. The defendant, however, did admit that that Mr. Cinco did stumble. For these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $4,000 surety bond, $3,000 for the battery, $1,000 for the criminal trespass, and damage to property, no further contact with Mr. Cinco, and a one-day anger awareness class, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. And if Mr. Cinco is on the Zoom call, I would like to sound for him.
If Mr. Cinco is with us, now is your opportunity to address the court if you choose to do so. If you do, you'll have to activate your camera and unmute yourself. Doesn't appear so, Ms. Bickerstaff. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mr. Olson is 47 years old. He has his wife and children here in Georgia. He is taking care of his 8 years old and 6 years old, 2 children as a stay-home father. And his wife Olson is on the Zoom to support him. Your Honor, we would like to request for a signature on bond since this is his first offense in terms of violence. He graduated from graduate school. He has a master's degree, and he is a great father, and kids really need him. Thank you, Your Honor.
For the battery, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. For the criminal trespass and damage, it's going to be a $1,000 signature bond through the jail, which makes a total of a $4,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Mr. Cinco, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Olson.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Position 21, Mr. St. Fuller.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. St. Fleur. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You have been charged in case 23 CR 003708B with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
Yes, one prior from New York from 2016 for criminal possession of marijuana, possession of a forged instrument, and disorderly conduct. Disorderly conduct was the only conviction. Nothing further.
Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, so this incident occurred Saturday, June the 10th of this year, and it happened at 1073 Piedmont Avenue in Atlanta. And this is where the defendant struck his minor child, Marcellus Munsire. The child's only 2 years old, and the defendant hit his minor child in the head with an open hand, causing him to cry. So for these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $4,000 surety bond, no further contact with Marcellus Munsire, and to stay away from the incident location, 1073 Piedmont Avenue, a one-day anger awareness course, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. St. Fleur is 32 years old. He is actually a successful life coach for a lot of people, and he has associate degree. And Your Honor, he denies the allegation. Baby cries a lot. It was open land, open park. He did not hit his baby. He is 1-year-old son, soon to be 2 years on August 6, 2021. Right now, instead of cooking for his baby mother and baby, the breakfast and to take care of them, he has been in jail for things that he didn't do. We would like to request for a signature on bond and continuous contact with the baby, since he did not hit him. There was a police who was investigating the baby. There was no mark on the face, nothing, no injury whatsoever. Thank you.
Speaker Steph, how were the police involved in this?
Let me go to the police report. Let me go back to it just 1 second. We tried to contact Miss Ashley Green. She's on the police report, but we weren't able to. Just give me 1 second.
Your Honor, can courtroom 3 and Ms. Melnick, the Spanish interpreter, go back into a breakout room, please?
Okay, can we put them back into a breakout room?
Will do.
Thank you, Ms. Bridgewater.
Well, Your Honor, all our office has is the warrant, and it just states that the defendant hit his child with an open hand on the head. So I'm not sure, and we weren't able to make contact with the mother today.
Okay, it's gonna be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with the alleged victim. He's to follow any orders of defects and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Bridgewater, Madam Interpreter is still with us, so I don't know if she has not been placed back in that breakout room.
In the process of doing it now.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Position 22, Snelson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Snelson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You have been charged in case 23 CR
Your Honor.
00.
That's my,
Oh, that's Ms.
that's gonna be my
Melnick.
case, Your Honor.
Ms. Melnick is about to go back into the breakout room. Do we have anyone else that we can take until she returns?
Oh, I apologize. I thought this was Kim's case.
No.
They switched out. Okay. Position 25, Wally.
We're still waiting to get put in that breakout room, Your Honor.
I've made the request, so as soon as they can do it, I'm sure that Ms. Bridgewater will. Thank you.
Sir, I have a seat.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wally. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
You've been charged in case 23 CR 003699F with criminal trespass and simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
No, first arrest.
Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, so this incident occurred Saturday, June 10th of this year at 19629 Pine Walk, Forest Circle in Alpharetta, Georgia. And this is where the defendant was intoxicated and he destroyed a glass table by slamming his hands on the end of it, causing it to break. And then the defendant took off Miss India Walia's glasses off her face and he threw them on the ground, causing them to break. And then the defendant grabbed her by her shirt and brought her bra, causing the bra strap to break. Your Honor, our office was able to speak with Miss India Walia, and she let us know that her and the defendant have been married for about 25 years and they have 2 children together. She stated that the defendant, she let us know that the defendant has been physically and verbally abusive to her throughout their marriage, but this is the first time that she called the police. She also let us know that the defendant has been verbally abusive towards their sons, who are now 19 and 22 years old. She let us know that everything in the warrant was true and that she is currently in the process of filing a TPO against the defendant. She stated that she doesn't want any contact with him and she wants him to stay away from their address. I'm sorry, I stated the wrong address earlier, which is it's 10620 Pine Walk, Forest Circle. Excuse me, Your Honor. So for all of these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $6,000 surety bond. No, I'm sorry. It's a $5,000 surety bond. It will be $2,000 for the criminal trespass and $3,000 for the simple battery family violence. No further contact with Miss India Walia. and to stay away from their home at 10620 Pine Walk Forest Circle, as well as 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while on bond, and an ADET. And if Miss Walia is on the Zoom call, I'd like to sound for her.
Ms. Walia, this is now your opportunity to speak. If you choose to do so, you of course do not have to speak if you don't choose to. If you do, I'll need for you to activate your camera and I'll have to swear you in.
Yes, sir. I'm here on the call. I'm going to activate my video.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
So in this 25 years of marriage, this kind of instance were happening, and he has anger issues and very has a history of drinking, and verbally also he abuses, and physically also. And last Friday night, whatever happened, that was too much, and he was highly intoxicated on that night. And the way he was doing, he was grabbing me, throwing me all around. It was in the gym room, and he was pushing me all around. So I was scared, and I'm fearful for my life as well as my kids, both my boys. And when the police were called in, my older son called the police. And when the police came in, when they were taking him out of the house, and both my boys were standing in the front yard, just holding hands and just watching, because the police told them not to get into the house. So my husband, when he sees my kids, he says, "I will remember this." And he was trying to charge against my kids. So I'm very fearful for that. And the police have to pull him back. So I don't want him to be around my kids or myself. And I'm also filing for a TPO in the meantime.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Walia is 50 years old, actually, Your Honor, 53 years old. He's been here in Georgia quite a bit, and Your Honor, he's married, he has 2 children. Not that long ago, he actually had a very big accident. So he lost, he has to have a surgery to put 2 metal pieces into his neck between 5 and 6 and 6 and 7 points. And after that, he also has a short-term memory loss, according to his explanation of what was going on. And Your Honor, he is not qualified for public defender services because his wife is making income, if I remember correctly. We would like to request for signature on bond, since this is the first of an incident ever, and we have no objection to stay away or no further contact at all. Thank you.
Criminal trespass, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge. With a simple battery, a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge. Makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge. 1-day anger awareness. No further contact with Ms. Walia. Stay away from the Pine Walk Circle address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck, Ms. Walia.
Yes, sir. Sorry. He has a possession of a firearm too. I don't know where that is held now, but he says it's not in the house, but I want to make sure that is not with him anymore.
Okay, well, he's not to have any firearms, so he's gonna have to get rid of any firearms that he has as a condition of his bond, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Good luck to you both.
Thank you.
We're gonna go to position number 18, the Spanish interpreter case.
Okay. Ms. Chancey, good afternoon again. If you could raise your right hand for me, do you swear or affirm that you will translate from Spanish to English and English to Spanish to the best of your ability?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Pinero. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Buenas tardes, señor Pinero. Este es la audiencia de causas estatales de trámite rápido y estoy conduciendo esta audiencia a través de videocámara. ¿Está de acuerdo con que continuemos su caso de esta manera?
¿Sí?
Yes, yes.
You have been charged with battery, family violence, driving under the influence of alcohol less safe, and following too closely.
Usted tiene 3 acusaciones, 3 cargos por golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar, por manejar incapacitado por los efectos del alcohol y conducir de muy cerca a otro vehículo.
Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
¿Hay antecedentes, señorita Roberts?
No, first arrest.
No, este es el primer arresto.
Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred yesterday
Este incidente ocurrió ayer
at 201 West Wesley Road.
Esto ocurrió en el 201 de West Wesley Road.
And this is where the defendant was involved in a car accident. The defendant struck Mr. Matthews' car from behind while it was stopped at a red light.
Esto fue un incidente en donde el acusado estuvo involucrado en un accidente. El acusado chocó contra el vehículo del señor Matthews por atrás mientras estaba parado ante una luz roja.
Officers spoke with the defendant and he stated that his car was rear-ended and front-ended by another car.
Los oficiales contactaron al acusado y quien dijo que el carro había sido, su carro había sido chocado por el vehículo haciendo marcha para atrás.
The officer noted that he could smell alcohol on the defendant's breath and that the defendant had slurred speech and red eyes.
El oficial percibió un aliento con olor a alcohol, también balbuceaba el acusado y contenía sus ojos enrojecidos.
Anna Rosas Gaspar was in the car with the defendant during the accident.
Ana Rosa Gaspar estaba también en el vehículo con el acusado en este accidente.
And she told officers that her boyfriend, the defendant, punched her in the face several times, causing her to have a busted lip.
Y le dijo a los oficiales que su novio la había golpeado varias veces en la cara, causando un corte en su labio.
Ms. Rosas told officers that the defendant was mad because she left the club and didn't listen to him.
Rosa le dijo a los oficiales que el acusado estaba enojado porque ella se había ido del club nocturno y sin avisarle.
The warrant noted that a witness told officers that the defendant punched Ms. Rosas and that he heard the defendant tell Ms. Rosas to get in the driver's side of the car and take the blame for the accident. And when she refused to do so, the defendant attacked her.
Un testigo le dijo al oficial que el acusado le había dado un puñetazo a Rosa y que escuchó al acusado decirle a ella: siéntate del otro lado y échate la culpa por este accidente. Como ella se rehusó, el acusado comenzó a atacarla.
Ms. Rosas and the defendant live together.
La señora Rosa y el acusado viven juntos.
The state's recommendation for all of these reasons is a $6,500 surety bond, $3,000 for the battery family violence, $3,000 for the DUI, and $500 for the following two close. 1-day anger awareness course, no further contact with Miss Ana Rosas Gaspar, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond, and to stay away from their residence. I don't have that address, but we can get that from the defendant, and a one-time police escort so the defendant can get his belongings.
Por todas estas razones, la Fiscalía recomienda una fianza bajo garantía de $6,500, $3,000 por el cargo de golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar, $3,000 por el cargo de manejar incapacitado por los efectos del alcohol y $500 por conducir muy cerca de otro vehículo. También debe tomar un curso de manejo de la ira, no tener más contacto con Ana Rosa Gaspar. Queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté bajo fianza, y también debe mantenerse alejado, distanciado de la residencia de ambos. No, que no lo tengo, pero él puede otorgarla. Y también que reciba un oficial como escolta para regresar a la dirección una vez y sacar sus pertenencias personales.
Melnick?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you very much. Yes, my client lives in the Dalton area.
Mi cliente vive en Dalton.
He works in the carpeting flooring industry.
Y trabaja para la industria del alfombrado y pisos.
He has an extended family with several cousins that live in that area.
Y tiene una familiares ahí, varios primos que viven en el área.
And this is his first arrest.
Este es su primer arresto.
We're asking on the family violence battery a $2,000 signature bond.
Pedimos para el cargo de golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar, $2,000 de multa bajo firma.
Under DUI, a $2,000 signature bond.
Y por el manejar bajo los efectos del alcohol, $2,000 fianza bajo firma.
And on the following two close, a $500 signature bond.
Y $500 con una fianza bajo firma por conducir muy cerca de otro vehículo.
We understand that I did explain to him that if you do, when you grant a bond or hopefully a signature bond, that he would not be allowed any contact with his girlfriend, and that he has cousins in the area that he can stay with.
Él entiende, o sea, le expliqué que si se le otorga probablemente una fianza bajo firma, él no va a tener el permiso de tener contacto alguno con su novia. Y él tiene varios primos en el área a donde residir.
That's it. Thank you.
Gracias.
It's going to be a split bond for the battery, a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. For the DUI, a $2,000 surety bond. For the following two closely, a $500 signature bond through the jail.
Excuse me, Your Honor. For the first charge, could you please repeat what type of bond?
It's going to be for the battery, a $2,000 signature bond through the jail.
Por el primer cargo de golpes y lesiones son $2,000, fianza bajo firma. Por manejar incapacitado por los efectos del alcohol,
fianza bajo firma de $2,000 y $500 por el tercer cargo de conducir muy cerca de otro vehículo, también fianza bajo firma.
No further contact with the alleged victim and stay away from her household.
No tener más contacto con la alegada víctima y mantenerse distanciado de la residencia de ambos.
He can go back to that residence on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there.
Él solo puede regresar allí una sola vez con un policía de escolta para poder sacar todas sus pertenencias personales.
No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté bajo fianza.
Good luck to you, sir.
Buena suerte, señor.
Okay, I apologize, Your Honor. What was the bond amount?
For the battery, a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. For the DUI, a $2,000 good bond. For the following too closely, a $500 signature bond through the jail.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Position number 26, Walker.
Okay, I believe, Ms. Chansey, I don't believe we have any further, anyone that needs your assistance, but we certainly appreciate your help this afternoon.
Thank you, sir. And I would like to just say the second case is a surety bond. I think I heard it wrongly.
So the second one is going to be a good bond or surety bond.
A
Yes.
surety bond. Okay, just please let me clarify that.
Okay.
Señor, ay,
Oh, courtroom 3, can you come back on, please?
señor, ¿me puede escuchar? Por el segundo cargo de manejar incapacitado por los efectos del alcohol, son $2,000 de fianza bajo garantía. Por ese cargo sí tendrá que pagar un porcentaje de la fianza, ¿comprende? Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
No problem. Thank you. We
Have a
appreciate the
good
help
day.
as always. You
You're
too.
welcome. Bye-bye.
Tell me where we are again, courtroom 2.
Position 26, Walker.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Walker. I'm Judge Eric Moore. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, you've been charged in case 23 CR 003702E with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer and theft by deception. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
5 cycles, 2 out of Georgia, 3 out of Virginia. Last arrest was from April of 2015 for driving without a valid license. There's no disposition listed. 2 convictions out of Virginia, 2014 grand larceny, 2007 malicious wounding, and nothing further.
I'm sorry, can I interject? I've been trying to reach out to the state. Can someone please send me the information for Coward and Jeffrey Grant? They weren't on our list this morning. And I need to
Okay, all right, no problem, Ms. Williams.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
No, you're fine, Ms. Wells. Yes, Ms. Bickerstaff.
Yes, Your Honor. So this
Let me
is-
make sure, I'm sorry, Ms. Bicker, let me just make sure that I have his counsel on. Who's representing Mr. Walker? Ms. Kim, Ms. Wells, Ms. McLeod.
I'm not representing Mr. Walker. I'm not sure who the.
Neither am I, Your Honor.
Okay. Did Mr. Walker speak with anyone?
Ms. Kim should be representing Mr. Walker.
Ms. Kim, are you with us? Will someone text her, please?
I will, Judge.
Thank you.
This, Judge, this should be Ms. Kim's case.
We're trying to raise her, thank you. Apparently she's gone off,
Oh.
she's
we can
not
go-
with
we can
us.
Move on to the next case, that's fine.
Okay,
Go ahead and have a seat. Position 22, Snelson.
Yes, Your Honor, that's my
Oh,
case.
okay, thank you. Yes, good afternoon again, Mr. Snelson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Hello.
Ms. Kim, we had your client before us, but we had to move on. We'll come back to him, okay? Mr. Snelson. Mr. Snelson, you've been charged in case 23 CR 003692Y with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
6 cycles, last arrest out of Clayton County, December of 2021 for willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. There's no disposition listed. And then he had a 2021 conviction for willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. And nothing further.
Ms. Bickerstaff.
Yes, so this incident occurred February 14th of this year at 6200 Baker's Ferry Road in Atlanta, Your Honor. And this is where officers picked up the defendant on a warrant. Miss Kayla Pope and the defendant are married and they have an unborn child together. And this is where the defendant caused physical harm to Miss Pope by choking her with both of his hands, and then he sat on her pregnant stomach, Your Honor. Our office was able to speak to Miss Pope today. She confirmed the events in the warrant, but then she claimed that the defendant just hovered over her and that he didn't sit directly on her. She let us know that they've been living together, for about 3 years at that address, and they have the child together. Their child was born on the 1st of June of this year. She stated that they don't have a domestic violence. She let us know that they don't have a domestic violence history and that she's not afraid of the defendant. And this incident was an argument that just got very heated between them. She told our office that they usually do not fight like this and they haven't fought like this since this incident, and everything has been fine. She also let us know that she would like no further violent contact with the defendant, and she would like for him to return to their address. And I would like to sound for Ms. Pope at the appropriate time. However, the state's recommendation for this case is a $3,500 surety bond, no further contact with Ms. Kayla Pope, to stay away from their address at 6200 Baker's Ferry Road, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. If you would like to address the court, you'll have to unmute yourself and activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am. If you'll raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you, Ms. Pope. What would you like to tell the court?
Yes, I had told the office that I didn't want to further press charges and that I want him to at home because our son is only 12 days old.
Okay, and this alleged incident happened back in February. Have you all been staying together ever since?
Yes.
Are you afraid of him?
No, sir.
Has this happened since?
No.
Okay, anything further, ma'am?
No, ma'am. No, sir.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Ms. Melnick, if it's all right with you, I'm going to give him a signature bond through pretrial, a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge. 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Pope, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you?
I'm happy with that.
Okay,
You're
very good.
probably one of the growing list of people that are happy that I can't speak. It's a long list.
I'm not on that list, Ms. Melnick.
I don't blame you if you were.
Yes, ma'am. Who do we have next?
To interject again, is there any way I can receive the warrant information for?
Miss Wills, I just sent the first one. I'm working on sending the second one.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Check your email.
Position 15, Lanier.
I'm sorry, who?
Position 15, Lanier.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Lanier. I'm Judge Eric Moore. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Lanier, you've been charged in case 23 CR 003710H with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
Yes. 26 cycles, 1 out of Georgia, 1 out of Minnesota, 24 out of Illinois. Last arrest was from February of this year for knowingly driving a motor vehicle on suspended, canceled, or revoked registration in Lake City, Georgia. That case appears to be open, no disposition listed. Has convictions out of Illinois, 2022, disorderly conduct, 2015, resistant officer arrest, 2012, knowingly damaged property, 2010, resistant officer arrest, 2009, domestic battery, 2009, driving while license suspended or revoked, 2007, possession of a controlled substance, domestic battery, 2004, and then 2004, manufacture, deliver a controlled substance. Nothing further.
Staff.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred April 11th, 2023. And this is where Miss Mocha Brazel told officers that she was pushed in the face by the defendant, her child's father. She let officers know that this incident started when he came home. She was cleaning up the house, and then the defendant accused her of cheating. He said that she was cheating to hide. She was cleaning to hide evidence of her cheating. Ms. Brazel told officers that she called him crazy for saying this, and then she asked the defendant to leave, and that then Ms. Brazel called the police because she thought that the argument was going to turn physical, in which it did. While she was calling the police, the defendant ran towards her and pushed her in the face, and then he left the scene. So the state's recommendation for this is a $3,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness course, no further contact with Miss Mocha Brazel, and to stay away from 5655 Old National Highway, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. I do not believe Miss Brazel is on the Zoom call, but if she is, I would like to sound for her.
The court, if you choose to do so, if you're with us. Doesn't appear so, Ms. Bickerstaff. Ms. Melnick?
Yes, Your Honor. My client has been in the Atlanta area since 2019, and before that he was in Illinois, but he does have significant ties to the community. He presently is unemployed, but he does construction, and he's basically just waiting for the next construction job to begin. And then he will be working in that industry. We explained to him that he may not be allowed to get back to the residence, but he does have a coworker, a friend through the construction company that he could go and stay with. The Lake City charge is a failure to appear for a traffic citation. He just needs to pay the fine.
Okay. It's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Brazel, stay away from the Old National Highway address, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Lanier.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Position 26, Walker.
Mr. Walker, again, you've been charged in case 23 CR 003702E with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer and theft by deception. I think that Ms. Roberts, do you have the history? I'm not sure if we got through the history last time.
Yeah, 5 cycles, 3 out of Virginia, 2 out of Georgia, 2 convictions out of Virginia for grand larceny in 2014, 2007, malicious woman. Last arrest was April of 2015 for driving without a valid license, no disposition listed.
Speaker staff?
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred Saturday, June 10th of this year at 375 Lucky Street. And this is where officers were flagged down by a victim who asked them if he was able to park on the city street without having to pay. And the victim told officers that there was a man that was charging $40 to park. When officer asked who that person was, the victim pointed at the defendant and the officers approached him. The officer asked the defendant for his information and whether he was charging people to park. The defendant told officers that he was not charging people to park, and then he asked the officers why was he being harassed by them, and then the defendant took off. He ran away. And so officers were able to catch up to the defendant, and they found him trying to climb a fence. And so when officers told him to get down, the defendant refused to get down, and that's when he was tased by officers, Your Honor, and taken into custody. So the state's recommendation for these reasons is a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 on each charge, and to stay away from 375 Lucky Street, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Skip, it's okay with you. It's going to be $1,000 bond per charge, which makes for a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from 375 Lucky Street, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you?
Yes, Your
All
Honor.
right. Good luck to you, Mr. Walker.
Yes, sir.
You said total was 2,000 SOB through the jail, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Thank you. What was the breakdown? So it's 1 and 1?
Yes.
Thanks. Position 16, Lattimore.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lattimore. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Lattimore, you've been charged in case 23 CR 003685G with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
No, first arrest.
Let's see, who's presenting for the state?
I'm sorry, what position is it?
16, Mr. Lattimore.
One second. Is it possible to come back to this position, Your Honor?
I can hold for you, Mr. Walker. I mean,
Okay,
we
one
don't have
second.
we don't have too
Okay,
many.
hold on. I'm sorry. This is.
You got position number 2, Your Honor. If you want to do next.
I can do
Okay.
position number 2, if possible.
Okay, well. So this is Ms. Coward. Good afternoon, Ms. Coward. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is, let me just say, Mr. Lattimore, I'm sorry, we'll come back to you, sir. Ms. Coward, I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
You have been charged in case 23 CR 003709F with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
I am showing 2 cycles. Last arrest was from October of 2022 in Riverdale for theft by shoplifting and battery family violence. That case appears to be open.
Okay.
Okay, in this case, Your Honor, the victim's name is Timothy Pryor. He reported to law enforcement officers that the defendant did punch him, resulting in bruises, or I'm sorry, he was struck by the defendant in his arm and his face. We are asking for a $1,500 surety bond. No further contact with Timothy Pryor, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Mr. Pryor, I see you on the line. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. You'll have to unmute yourself and I'll have to swear you in if you would like to address the court.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're gonna have to find a stable place for me.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me know when you get to a stable place, then you can start walking, okay?
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what would you like to tell the court, Mr. Pryor?
My thing is, I never really told the officers anything. I was just, only thing I told them pretty much, I just wanted to leave. Everyone who wrote statements and stuff, there was witnesses and stuff like that. I never really spoke with the officers, told them anything.
Okay, who is Miss Coward to you?
This is my child's mother.
Okay, do you all live together?
We were living together.
Okay, so you're not living together?
Yes, sir.
Are you afraid of her?
No, sir, not at all.
Okay. Any questions, Mr. Walker?
Not from the state.
Is this your case, Miss Melnick?
Are we back on, I'm sorry, Your Honor. Are we back on?
This is Miss Coward.
No, it's not my case, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Okay, you're fine.
It is my case, Your Honor.
Yes,
I
Miss
agree
Coward.
with Howard. Yes.
Okay.
Your
go
Honor.
ahead.
Yes. Yes, Miss Coward is 20 years old, Your Honor. And she, after 11th grade, she kind of took a break because she had to give a birth about 1 month and 3 weeks ago. So she is postpartum right now. And also even she has a new job. On June 10, about 2 days ago, she started her new job as a cashier at Wendy's. She really needs to work so that she can support her baby. Your Honor, we would like to request for a signature on bond, since this is one of the first time that she's ever getting into like a battery family violence situation, Your Honor. Mr. Timothy is not afraid. They have been living together at the Airbnb, which was rented in her mother's name. So if it has to be stay away, I think Timothy Romaine Pryor can find another place. Not my client right now with a new baby and new job. She really needs to return to take care of her baby. We would like to request for signature on bond. Thank you.
It's going to be $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No further violent contact with Mr. Pryor, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Howard. You also, Mr. Pryor.
All right, thank you.
Can I see her? Can you turn the camera so I can see her?
Huh?
So I can see Riley.
Hold up real quick.
I'm talking about my mom. She could hear me.
Oh.
Oh.
All right, there you go. Thank you.
Too precious.
Okay, y'all have a good day.
And I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm ready for position 16, Lattimore.
Okay. And Mr. Lattimore was charged with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Ms. Roberts, I'm sorry. Did I get through the history?
Yes, Judge. We're on Lattimore, right?
Yes, position 16. Yes.
First arrest.
Okay.
Yes, in this case, Your Honor, the defendant was attempted to be stopped by law enforcement officer due to the defendant being in a stolen vehicle. Upon initiating the traffic stop, the defendant did get out of the vehicle and flee, hence the charge of obstruction. The state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond with no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Okay, it's gonna be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you, Ms. Melnick?
Yes, Your Honor. Took the
All
words
right,
out of my
good.
mouth.
Good luck to you, Mr. Lattimore.
All right, thank you. I got
You're
another
welcome.
question. I got another question.
Okay, hold on. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. And I'm sure that Ms. Melnick can speak with you after court, if you would like for her to do that.
You have no questions.
Okay.
Run. You do run.
Is that, was the possession of marijuana NOD?
Yes,
All right, and the bond amount was against, have a seat. The obstruction was what, Your Honor? I'm sorry.
That's $1,000 signature bond through the jail.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Next, we have Mr. Jeffrey Grant, position number 10. Well, it's an add-on. I believe.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Grant. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. You've been charged in case 23 CR 003711Y with simple assault. Is there a history?
He has one prior from August of 2022 in Dunwoody for driving without a valid license. That was a NOLO plea September of 2022, and he appears to probably be on probation for that case. It was a 12-month probation. And that's
Thank you. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred June 9th of this year at 95 Gunlock Trace in Roswell. And this is where the defendant and Mr. Jordan Barbras, who are roommates, were arguing when Mr. Jordan told the defendant, he asked the defendant to clean up, and the defendant then called Mr. Jordan an MFer and stated that he would beat Mr. Jordan's butt. And so then Mr. Jordan told the defendant to calm down. And that's when the defendant picked up a golf club and asked Mr. Jordan whether he wanted to fight or not. And so then Mr. Jordan's father, Ronald Barbras, heard the argument, and he walked in and he grabbed the golf club from the defendant. The defendant admitted to grabbing and having the golf club, but he stated that he didn't have any intentions on using it. Our office was able to speak to Mr. Jordan today, and he did let us know. He let us know that the defendant and him are roommates and business partners, and that this incident happened at Mr. Jordan's parents' home. And he also confirmed the events that were listed in the warrant. Mr. Jordan let us know that him and the defendant have had contact with each other since this incident, and that he's not in fear of him, and that he does want contact with the defendant. But he did state, because this is his parents' home, he does not want the defendant to return back to that location, Your Honor. So the state's recommendation is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, 1-day anger awareness course, no further contact with Mr. Jordan Barbras, and to stay away from the 95 Gunlock Trace address in Roswell, as well as a one-time police escort, so the defendant can grab his belongings. And if Mr. Jordan is on the Zoom call, I would like to sound for him.
See Mr. Barbas there. Mr. Barbas, if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in if you would like to address the court. Okay, I take it that Mr.
Hey, here I am, sorry.
Okay.
Is my camera on?
No, it's not, sir.
Give me 1 second.
I'm having trouble putting on the camera. Can you send me a request again for that? Oh, there we go. Hold on. There we go. Hello?
Okay, there you go, Mr. Barbers. Can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can put your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
So I would want contact with them just because we are business partners as well. I heard that the court said that there would be no contact, but we would have to actually see each other. And
It looks like he's dropped off. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 20 years old. He and the alleged victim were roommates, as was stated. He tells me that he's known the Barber's family for approximately almost all of his life. He's had a good relationship with the entire family. And this was an incident, there was nothing physical, it was just having a disagreement, as sometimes happen. He tells me that he and Jordan are business partners. They have a moving business together, which they recently started. He does want to continue to have contact. He tells me that he was in the process of moving anyway. This was just a temporary stay, and he had been planning to move within the next 2 weeks. So he will be able to move. He will need a one-time police escort to go back to get his things, but he would like to continue to have contact with Jordan. And obviously, from what Jordan says, he would also like to have contact with him. I would ask the court, given my client's lack of any kind of history, certainly no violent history, to, as you said, a signature bond would be just fine, but he does want contact.
Okay. It's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, no further violent contact with Mr. Barbas, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. And that concludes my business before the court. May I be excused?
Yes, thank you, Ms. McLeod. Have a good afternoon.
You too, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All we have left is Mr. Joshua Davies, Your Honor, private attorney. No?
Okay, I think that Ms. Wills has said that she'll represent him. Correct, Ms. Wills?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Davies, again, you've been charged in case 23 CR 003689G with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Robinson? Ms. Roberts, excuse me.
Oh, it's fine. Last arrest was September of 2012 for theft by shoplifting. That case was dismissed. Nothing further.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the defendant was charged with battery family violence. Law enforcement officers were dispatched to 1391 Collier Road. They spoke to the victim, whose name is Taylor Wilson, who advised that they were in a verbal altercation with the defendant that turned physical, that resulted in visible injuries. The law enforcement officer did observe bruises to the victim's neck, face, and legs. We are asking for a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Taylor Wilson, and a stay away from the incident location, 1391 Collier Road.
Yes, Ms. Wells.
My client is 34 years old. He is a native of Georgia. His mother also resides here, and I spoke with her. He is employed by Oracle as a senior user experience designer. He will not qualify for our services and does intend to hire his own private counsel. He does deny the allegations as alleged. He states that Ms. Wilson attacked him, and this is the second time that she's been abusive toward him. Also, she threatened him with a knife. The incident location belongs to Mr. Davies. And so we would be requesting a one-time law enforcement escort to ensure that she has vacated the premises. His name is solely on the lease. And then I have advised him that he can potentially modify his bond if required at a later date. But he also did receive injuries as a result of the attack that he sustained from Miss Wilson. They previously lived together. However, they will no longer be engaged in a relationship. I am requesting a signature on bond. If your honor is not so inclined, I would ask for the lowest bond that you would be willing to grant, Mr. Davies.
Did you have something further, Mr. Walker?
I just want to confirm that the victim does live at that incident location, so we are asking for that stay away provision.
Okay. It's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge. 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Wilson. He can go back to the Collier Road address on one occasion with law enforcement to either see if Ms. Wilson has vacated. If she has vacated the property, then he can remain there. If she has not vacated the property, then he will have to get his belongings and find somewhere else to reside. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Okay, good luck to you, Mr. Davies.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Mr.
Excuse me.
Barbas?
Yeah,
Mr. Barbas?
sorry.
Yes.
My phone turned off. I'm sorry.
In your case, with your roommate, I've granted a no further violent contact, okay?
Okay.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And Judge, that was 3,000 SOB through pretrial, correct?
That's correct, yes.
All right. I apologize. I was off my game today.
Oh, no worries. We're all just trying to do our best, right? Mr. Walker was off his game too.
I was gonna admit it myself, Your Honor, but thank you.
You wrong for that, Judge. You wrong for that.
I filled in at the last moment, so I'm glad for the
You know, I'm just teasing you, Mr. Walker.
all good.
Okay, does that conclude the calendar?
Should be it, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. I'll see you all next time. Thank you. And as
Judge,
soon
don't you
as-
want to go over the calendar with Miss Grace?
That's what I was just about to say.
Oh,
Ms.
okay. I
Grace
thought you were
Wallach.
off your game. I'm just putting you back.
I appreciate you checking. So as soon as we're ready, we can go over the calendar.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Could you just go over what the whole case was? Cause I missed it. Just wanted to hear what everyone.
I gave your roommate a signature bond, and he's to have no further violent contact with you, which means that you all can be around each other.
Okay.
Any
Okay,
other
thank you.
questions?
That was it. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Have a good afternoon, sir.
You too.
Sorry, Judge.
Now, you gave me.
Hey, Judge.
Yes, Ms. Grace.
Okay, we was having problems. Position number 10 with Mr. Barbas is just a no further violent contact, or did you want
It's no further violent contact.
so he can return or he can what
Yes,
else is the condition?
I did not issue a stay away. It's a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, no further violent contact with Mr. Barbas, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, position number 1 is a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 2 is a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 3 and 4 are $1,000 each SOB through the jail. Position 5 is a $3,000 pretrial per judge. Position number 6 is a $1,000 SOB through the, $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 7 is a $2,000 good bond. Position number 8 is a $3,000 pretrial per judge. Position number 9 is a $1,000 good bond. Position number 10 is a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 11 is a $1,000 good bond. Position number 12 is a $3,000 good bond. Position number 13 is a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 14 is a 3,000 pretrial per judge. Position number 15 is a 3,000 pretrial per judge. Position number 16 is $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 17 is a 4,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 18 is a $4,500 split. Position number 19 is a 3,000 pretrial per judge. Position number 20 is a 3,000 pretrial per judge. Position number 21 is a 2,000 pretrial per judge. 22, 2,000 pretrial per judge. Position number 23 is a 3,000 pretrial per judge. Position number 24 is a 3,000 pretrial per judge. Position number 25 is a 3,000 pretrial per judge. Position number 26 is a 2,000 SOB through the jail. Any questions or concerns?
Okay, if not, you all have a good rest of your day. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.